wrestling fans. Not sports entertainment fans. Professional wrestling fans. Professional wrestling. This is it. This is us standing up. This is
the Wrestling Matters Podcast, a podcast that stands up for professional wrestling. Why? Because wrestling matters. So join the revolution, because the revolution is now.
Well, enough is enough, and it's time for a change.
professional wrestling. This is it. This is us standing up.
Yes, 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 yes.
That's 13-14.
Dina, I am the best in the world.
Cause that's the bottom line. Cause Stone Cold said so.
What's happening, ladies and gentlemen? It's me, HEAD, back with the 95th installment of the Wrestling Matters Podcast. Yes, indeed. 5 away from 100, ladies and gentlemen. 5 away from 100. This week, it's going to be the usual stuff, ladies and gents. Raw, Smackdown, NXT, more on NXT in a second, TNA, Ring of Honor, and yes, ICW. Now, speaking of NXT, wow. I thought I'll kick off with my usual talk and announce, ladies and gentlemen, that this past Friday, Austin Aries is now a part of NXT. Yep, good old Austin Aries, greatest man that ever lived, one if not the best wrestlers on the planet, is now a part of NXT, and this just shows that NXT is making big waves in WWE at the moment, and not just in WWE, in the wrestling business itself, because he's getting big names, and there's big names on there like Samoa Joe. Hell, even Austin Aries is now on there, and with the stuff with AJ Styles and everything coming to WWE and that, I mean, blooming heck, it just gets more interesting by the minute. He made his appearance in Orlando with NXT Orlando, and apparently from what I got from Michael Larkin the other day, when I recorded the fourth installment of Wrestling Unleashed with moi, that's right, check that out, link will be in the description below. Apparently, ladies and gentlemen, he has now got into a feud with Baron Corbin, because apparently Baron Corbin attacked him. So, you know, it's a simple way of what's going to happen. I mean, the thought of Austin Aries and Sami Zayn even blows my mind as well. But he's arrived, NXT, Austin Aries is now in NXT, and yeah, there's big things for him in 2016. Right, guys, also I want to talk about what's happening in terms of the Wrestling Matters Podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed the Royal Rumble, because as this is going out, the Royal Rumble has been and gone. Hope you guys enjoyed my Royal Rumble match podcast as well. All the links to my review and the Royal Rumble match podcast, which is me podcasting the match itself like if I was on the radio and talking through and giving my reactions to it as well, and hopefully you guys enjoyed that as well. That'll be up on SoundCloud, that'll be up on YouTube as well. Now, I'm in 2 minds at the moment, guys, involving the podcast. I've got big stuff coming up. The 100th episode is right around the corner. April 4th is the 2-year anniversary. Not only that as well, there's big things coming for the YouTube channel as well. And yeah, I'm deciding to go on Podbean. So look out for the Wrestling Matters Podcast on Podbean very, very soon as well. The only reason I'm going on Podbean, or even considering it, is because of their use of Stitcher Radio, TuneIn, and iTunes. So, you know, it's here and there, guys. It's here and there. And apparently their motto is, we do the podcast, they do the rest, which means promote it and whatever. So I'll let you know what goes down next week on the podcast and everything on that. So I've got some things to think about and some things to do this week in terms of that as well. Also, ladies and gentlemen, hope you enjoyed the Square Go. I'm thinking of doing a podcast like I usually do back in the day with my podcast that I've done before Christmas in 2015 with ICW and Progress Wrestling. I'm thinking about doing that live though on YouTube. I probably would, because Square Go is out today on the ICW on-demand service. Square Go, which took place Sunday, the same night rather, as the Royal Rumble. And yeah, I'm looking to do some things with that as well, during this week, so look out for that during the week. And the only way you'll get to see it is on the YouTube channel as well, AJW Wrestling Matters, and the only way you can get to do that is subscribe to it. Also, like I say, guys, the Swerve Network as well, this week coming up, hopefully we'll be doing some commercial work, some ads and leaflets and whatever on when I'll be coming to the Swerve Network as well. It's nothing big at the moment. It's a network and it'll do for the time being, until otherwise at the most. But I work with a good group of people, the Max Wrestling Podcast crew, and I'm just looking forward to doing business with them in the near future. Also, as well, the Wix website that I'm creating, the Wix website as well. I'm in the process of creating that. I don't know how that is going to turn out. It could go either way, but I'm in the process of creating that. I need to check a few things, but that should be up and running. I'm aiming for the end of February for that, round about the 100 episode mark, round about that time. I'm aiming for that, but it's easier said than done. So we'll have to see how that goes at the time being. There's a few things I need to do. I need to speak to Daz about a few things as well. But all in all, I should have that up, say, by the end of next month. That is the aim. Will it happen? Time will tell. And like I say, it's easier said than done. I really don't have that much to talk about, so I just thought I'll go on these websites and see what is there to talk about, to be honest. WWE announces Austin Aries and NXT. The Austin Aries NXT debut, and the NXT debut is scheduled for Wednesday, which I'm guessing it's this Wednesday, to be honest. So yeah, that's something to look forward to on that. Apparently there's a taping going out, I don't know, but it's coming soon. Tough Enough winner Josh appearing in the Royal Rumble. Now, speaking of him, apparently this guy's going around has already got heat. This guy wins a Tough Enough Tough Enough competition and thinks he can run his mouth. Apparently he's got heat for calling the social outcasts social jobbers. And Cody Rhodes has took to Twitter to say, enjoy dressing with your gear on your own, not in the dressing room of the WWE locker room. It's 50-50 with this one. I spoke about this on the Mike Larkin podcast that I did, the Wrestling Unleashed, and I said it's 50-50 because let's face it, social outcasts are jobbers, to be honest. It's Curtis Axel, who hasn't been relevant since he won the Intercontinental Championship, and the last gimmick they put that WWE tried with him was a Hulk Hogan gimmick, which led to Hulk Hogan and Damien Sandow's Macho Sandow, whatever the heck it was. The Mega Powers, or the retarded Mega Powers. Adam Cole, what's his name? Mr. Whoa. Sorry, I'm having a bit of a brain fart here. Adam Rose, that's it. Adam Cole, good grief. Adam Rose, he hasn't been that well, and I think his character's died down a little bit, so that's why he's with the social outcast. Don't get me started on Bo Dallas. We could be here for a while. And Heath Slater, I call him the faction boy, because he's been in that many factions, it's unbelievable. And at the end of the day, I get what Josh is saying, but don't start shooting your mouth up because you think you've won, or let that Tough Enough thing go to your head. I think if he appears in the Rumble, he'll probably get his ass kicked, but just don't shoot your mouth off too much. If he appeared in the Rumble, like I say, only you know if he appeared in the Rumble, guys, because this goes out Mondays, the night after the Rumble, so only if you know if he appeared in the Rumble. But it is what it is. AJ Styles reacting to Cena putting a photo of him, or posting a photo of him on Instagram, if the thing would pop up anyway. And there we are. AJ Styles has caught wind of John Cena's Instagram post where he posted a photo of Styles. Styles has since then responded back on Instagram with the following, and he posted a picture of John Cena. Also, Tammy Cinch, boy is this woman. Tammy Cinch is apparently signed with an adult film. So she's going to be doing adult films, and I dread to think what Chris Candido would say about this. I mean, this is the same woman that apparently, and from what I've been told, has pawned her Hall of Fame ring. That's a big fuck you to WWE right there, and then for me. in my opinion. I mean, that's a slap in the face. I mean, everything they've done, I mean, they even grant you that, and you pawn the ring, you know, whatever. Mike Sharp passed away this past week as well, apparently. Rest in peace to him. And, yeah, it seems that Smith Hart revealed on his Facebook account that he has been diagnosed with bone and prostate cancer as well. So, Smith Hart, yeah, there's more people getting diagnosed and having bad luck. Hart wrestled in the Stampede wrestling as well as Puerto Rico and Europe during his career, so hope he gets well soon. Now for something that many of you people might like. It's, you know, this is mind-boggling to say the least, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, by the way, it had a story about Cameron complaining about WWE Creative, which what else is new? I think everybody's complaining about WWE Creative now and again. But this one has caught my eye, ladies and gentlemen. It seems that Big Show is considering leaving the WWE to pursue a career in professional boxing. Show claimed that he has had discussions with super heavyweight TJ Wilson and noted, "I remember trapping Wilson in the corner him getting out of the corner, and then I remember walking up in my Hummer with the keys in the ignition." Oh God! While Show never left the WWE, he did have a ring confrontation which he lost with Floyd Mayweather. So Big Show pursuing a boxing career or thinking about it. Yeah, I think it's safe to say, ladies and gentlemen, whatever, quite frankly. And breaking news, major debuts. I believe it said major debuts. Yep, major debuts. Jason Solomon Master, January 23rd, he'll make his debut, which will be today. Austin Aries has made his debut as well, besides the fact that he's been attacked by Baron Corbin and gets end of days on the floor, like it clearly said as well. So it's going to be interesting, and Baron Corbin goes one-on-one with Austin Aries very, very soon, no doubt. And no doubt now I can probably see, Baron Corbin, unless they've had the match anyway, I don't know, I've been fully aware, like I say, more on NXT later, but yeah, Baron Corbin, Austin Aries should be good, but I'm very fascinated to see what Austin Aries can bring to the NXT table. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to wrap up this part there. I'll be back in part 2 with the Raw review and a little bit else after that as well, and then I'll be back in part 3 with Smackdown and NXT, so stay tuned. If you like the Wrestling Matters podcast, why not check out their Facebook page at facebook.com/WM podcast and like the page and show your support to the podcast that stands up for professional wrestling, the Wrestling Matters podcast. Wrestling Matters, wrestling fans. What's happening, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Anthony Walker. Welcome to this Raw review. That's right. It's not just a Raw review, though. It is a Royal Rumble predictions review as well. That's right. I'm going to give you my predictions for the 2016 Royal Rumble event, which takes place this Sunday. Also, I'm going to give you the Raw review. So, without further ado, yes, ladies and gentlemen, I'm swagging the border top, as you can see right there, up the border. I don't know why I'm doing this. I know it's the old one yet, but hey, still got the badge on. It's still got the badge on. Mwah. Now, it is time, ladies and gents, for the Raw review. And we'll kick off with the Raw review, and I'll get to my predictions. I won't talk too much detail about some things that happened on Raw because of some of the matches that happened on Raw, because then I'll talk about it probably more in depth when I get to the Royal Rumble predictions, rather. 2016 Royal Rumble. And Royal Rumble, the Raw kicked off with Roman Reigns in the ring calling out Brock Lesnar after what happened last week, the F5 and that. He wanted some of Brock Lesnar. Chris Jericho comes out. And then Rusev and the League of Nations come out and confront Chris Jericho and Roman Reigns. And get into a segment, talk back and forth, Rusev and Roman going back to his, Rusev rather going back to his old self, the Clash of Roman. Yeah, it was pretty decent at thing, and then all of it led to a match between Roman Reigns and Rusev, which I've seen probably more than at the moment right now. It feels like I've seen that more than I've seen the Randy Orton Sheamus match. Yeah, there's that, and there's the match between. It came up with a little difference on this match, though, this Roman versus Rusev match, because it had Chris Jericho as the special guest referee. Yay. And obviously, it all led to Roman beating Rusev, because Roman managed to... How can I put this? He managed to go... spear Rusev, get him in, get the victory. But it was all thanks to Jericho throwing out the League of Nations. A little card off track there. There's a lot to remember. And obviously that tirade didn't sit well with Stephanie. Not that anyone cares. Yeah, I mean, it was what it was at the end of the day. It was what it was. And that whole thing came about, like I said, due to that. And that what led up to the highlight reel in the main event slot, which was Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar confrontation. Now, Roman Reigns called out Brock Lesnar. Brock came out, even though Paul Heyman came down and started shooting his mouth off. And, yeah, it just went on from there, basically. Shooting his mouth off, running his little filthy mouth off. And Brock came down and was looking to shut up Chris Jericho. That was until he walked into a spear from Roman Reigns. The beatdown ensued, and then another spear from Roman Reigns, which basically saw everything. And then the League of Nations came down. Brock took out the League of Nations. And then the Wyatts came down and took out Brock Lesnar and took their turn on Lesnar after taking out Roman Reigns. And, and the Wyatts, this Raw was the Raw for the Wyatts, basically, because it made them look incredibly strong. Taking out Lesnar, taking out Roman Reigns, beating the Dudley Boys earlier on with Ryback in the match, which was, a whatever match, to be honest. This was it, but that didn't make them look stronger. It was what happened in the main event that made them look stronger. Made them look very strong. Which was great. For the Wyatts, at least. Don't expect anything big out of them, later on. Other than that, it was very, very good nonetheless. But like I said, the Wyatts earlier on in the night beat Ryback and the Dudley Boys, which was a no match, which no one cares about that match, quite frankly. And also, during that match, after that, was a Total Divas match between Natalya and Brie Bella, which Natalya won. The story of that match is there seems to be beef between Paige and Alicia Fox, considering the clip they played from Total Divas. But it's good to see Natalya winning matches, and Total Divas is back. It's back tonight, actually, in fact, as this is going out. I'm a big Total Divas fan, to be honest with you. I'd just rather watch them wrestle and beat each other up than watch a soap opera or reality show, which is basically the breeding ground for the Divas division, which I've already said, although it hasn't been that way for a while, which is fucking tremendous. My favorite moment of the evening, of the night rather, my favorite moment of the night was My bad. Which was the Social Outcasts versus the Big Show. And yes, I did put Big Show and favorite thing in the same sentence. I know it's pretty hard to, take that in, but Big Show was fucking epic in this. He faces what I call it, Heath Slater. Faces Heath Slater and chokeslams him, beats him. No questions asked on that one. And he beats Heath Slater and then knocks out every member of the Social Outcasts. Curtis Axel tried to come in, get him some, did not work. Adam Rose goes to the tightrope, gets cleanly knocked right off it. And then my favorite bit is Bo Dallas managed to avoid him the first time. He's on the outside. He starts dancing around, goes, "Yay, I survived," and runs all the way around the ring. Walks right into a right hand, which was fucking hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. And all the members of the Social Outcasts were left laying from the Big Show, which is why you consider the Big Show one of the favorites. But he seems to be a babyface now because he was cheering and thinking around with the fans, which was a couple of weeks ago. He planned on winning the Royal Rumble and shoving it up everyone's ass after winning the title at WrestleMania. But obviously, he won't be able to win the title at WrestleMania because whoever wins the Royal Rumble match will be the champion. Yeah, it's just unbelievable how you can turn somebody who was a heel a couple of weeks ago, threatening to stick the championship and win the title and win the Royal Rumble and shoving it up people's asses until a babyface. But hey, it is what it is. At the end of the day, it is what it is. Other than that, ladies and gents, after that, Heath Slater debacle, which was a bit of a transformation, if you will, a Back to the Future moment, if you will. Back to 1999. Vince McMahon, Stephanie come out with this little roly thing, the little draw thing where you pick out the numbers of the for the Royal Rumble match that they used to do back in the day, probably still do to this day, I don't know. And the McMahons drew number 1 for Roman Reigns. 1999 called, and they want their slot back because they did exactly the same thing to Steve Austin, except it wasn't Stephanie, it was Shane McMahon back in the day. Oh, God. It's just, it's like, let's do the time warp again, for crying out loud. It was just ridiculous. Anyway, Becky Lynch and Tamina, and Becky beats Tamina and gets a shot at Charlotte. Apparently, Daddy stepped up and accepted the match on Charlotte's behalf, which didn't sit well with the champion. So can Becky dethrone Charlotte at the Royal Rumble? More on that later. I won't go into too much detail. U.S. champion Sheamus and Alberto Del Rio, the U.S. champion, take on Dean Ambrose and Kalisto. Again, no big deal match, to be honest with you. It was just a tag match. Which saw Alberto Del Rio. The rematch was announced as well. The Alberto Del Rio versus Kalisto at the Royal Rumble. Match 3, I think, out of this, the quote rubber match between the two. I thought Kalisto was injured, to be honest with you. I got told that he dropped the belt. He won the title last week on Raw and then dropped it on SmackDown because he was injured. It doesn't seem that way. Because if he was injured, he wouldn't be participating in the Rumble. But yeah, the match is on, and Del Rio and Sheamus beat beat Dean Ambrose and Kalisto with a little help from Kevin Owens as well. Not to mention that. Let's not forget about that as well. Kevin Owens did get involved because he's got beef with Dean Ambrose. Last man standing match coming up this this Sunday rather. Other than that, tag team champion Big E defeats the Usos, and yes, the Usos get a tag team title shot at the Royal Rumble. Again, build up to that. No big deal on that one. Now for the BS of the night, quite frankly. What was it? Neville, Mark Henry, Titus O'Neil, and R-Truth versus Tyler Breeze, Stardust, and The Ascension. Or basically Tyler Breeze and Cosmic Wasteland. Now, it's not the fact that this match took place, because again, this was a fill-in match, quite frankly. This is what happens when you have a 3-hour program, ladies and gentlemen. You have fill-in matches. You put the main matches that are on there, but you have to throw in fill-in matches just to kill time. This is why 3 hours suck, quite frankly. In my opinion, anyway. But the biggest bullshit about this match is, what the fuck was Tyler Breeze doing in there? Now, I heard through reliable sources that Tyler Breeze's push has been dethroned or derailed by one Vince McMahon. It wouldn't surprise me if Triple H saw this and thought, and probably was livid. It wouldn't surprise me if Triple H saw this and thought, motherfuckers, what they're doing with him. Because the fact that Tyler Breeze is in a match, he's got no business being in a match like this. They brought him up. This guy's got more talent than probably all of them, with the exception of Neville, combined. And he's getting put in stupid matches like this. He needs a push. The guy comes up, makes his debut on the main roster, and beats Dolph Ziggler cleanly at the Survivor Series. And then it was a downfall from there. Fuck's sake, If Triple H is watching this or some point, you need to take him off there and just bring him back to NXT, because he's not going to get anything. He'd be lucky to even get something. I think the biggest thing he'll get is a shot at WrestleMania. A WrestleMania match, because he won't get fuck all else. And if he does, I'll be surprised. But Vince McMahon needs to take his head out of his ass and realize he's got some talent on that roster from NXT, and he's doing fuck all with them, quite frankly. This is what scares me about NXT. Not just the males, the divas as well. The women. I mean, they bring them up to what? You're going to get used. It really frustrates me that Vince McMahon might have a funny way of showing it, but Vince McMahon has no idea what he has in respects of, the NXT roster. He's got great talent in developmental NXT roster, whatever the heck you want to call it down there, and he brings them up to the main roster and just fuck all with them. Basically, all right, he's put the Divas title on Charlotte. Whoop-de-doo, That was great at first, but this direction she's gone with Ric Flair and her daddy getting involved in that, it's just beyond stupidity. I mean, Triple H, even though he cut his long hair off, he must be pulling his hair out. He's got to have been pulling his hair out. I mean, no wonder he's held Finn Balor back. Because Finn Balor's on the verge of getting called up to the main roster, but at the end of the day, why would you allow somebody as talented as Finn Balor to go to the main roster where bullshit like this is happening with Tyler Breeze? Tyler Breeze, before long, will end up back in NXT. Just like the Ascension have ended up back in NXT. They've made a few appearances back in NXT. Why? Because they're getting jack shit on the roster. It's just ridiculous. It is just the biggest form of stupidity. It really is. And it just blows my mind. It really does. I mean, it is a scary thought when Finn Balor and people like that are coming up to the roster and probably not going to get used. And it takes someone like Triple H to wake up and think, I've got to hold these people back and plan like a long-term future for them on the main roster. Otherwise, they're going to end up back on my show and back to square one. Either that or get released. And I'll tell you this right now, Tyler Breeze was that close of being released on occasions. But, he survived. But Vince McMahon is, it's like that video says on YouTube. Go and watch it. He's out of touch. And he's damn sure out of time. But anyway, the Raw was... It was a 4 out of 5. It was a 4 out of 10 for me, to be honest with you. 2 out of 5. Not the best go home show, to be honest. I've seen better, but it was pretty much average. Nothing big, nothing new, nothing exciting. Hopefully, the Raw after the Royal Rumble will be exciting enough. After what I've heard, rumors are flying around, ladies and gentlemen, that AJ Styles will be making his debut on that show. That's what I've heard from the dirt sheets. It's not confirmed. It's a case of believing it where you see it. It's just a rumor, but that's what I've heard from the dirt sheets. There's all this talk about AJ Styles debuting after the Royal Rumble, but on the main roster as well, I might add, not on NXT. You'd be going straight to the main roster, apparently. But like I say, you believe it when you see it. All in all, though, guys, it was just a pretty average, lackluster Raw, to be honest. And it's a shame because it's supposed to be the go-home show to probably not only the biggest pay-per-view, one of the biggest pay-per-views of the year, but probably one of the most talked about Royal Rumbles that WWE will ever produce or ever create, because it's for the first time ever Roman Reigns is defending the championship, and then they have that kind of Royal Rumble. I hope that next week's Raw, the Raw after, is a great one. It has to be. But that is the end of the Raw review, and now we'll get straight onto the Royal Rumble predictions, rather. WWE Royal Rumble predictions. I've got the list right in front of me. That's why I've been messing about a little bit, because I've got the list and getting things set up. I've got the list right in front of me, right here. It is, the matches are last man standing match for the IC Championship between Dean Ambrose and Kevin Owens. The last match they'll have, and Dean Ambrose will win. And I think it's time for Kevin Owens to go on to other things now, like maybe a world title shot, or getting in that world title picture now. He doesn't need the Intercontinental Championship anymore. Dean Ambrose needs that more than him. And it's going to be a fight. If you're expecting a wrestling match in this last man standing match, then you're basically watching the wrong pay-per-view, or you're watching the wrong match, because there's not going to be any wrestling in this match. There's going to be one straight fisticuffs, brawls, weapons. Yes, there'll be tables, and announce tables will probably get involved as well. But yeah, Dean Ambrose to win. Alberto Del Rio defends the U.S. title against Kalisto, and I'm predicting Kalisto to be the new champion. It wouldn't surprise me. Don't be surprised if Alberto retains. But yeah, I'm kind of hoping to go back and put the belt back on Kalisto, because they should never have took it off him in the first place. What the WWE are doing, I don't know, with this feud, or whatever it is, if you can call it a feud. I guess they'll find out with the Rumble. But yeah, I'm predicting Kalisto, but don't be disappointed if Alberto Del Rio still retains. But I'm kind of hoping Kalisto will win. Tag team titles. New Day against the so-called Tag Team of the Year. Again, how can you win a Tag Team of the Year award when you were out for 6 months is beyond me. The Usos and the New Day for the tag team titles. And yes, I know there's a lot of people that are probably going to hate me for saying this. I can't stand the New Day, and I know there's probably a lot of people out there that are watching this right now that can't stand the Usos, rather. And I believe, ladies and gents, boys and girls, the Usos will win the tag team titles. Even though, to be honest, they probably don't deserve them. Considering they only came back before, I believe it was before maybe Survivor Series. I don't know. but they haven't done that much. And like I say, it still mind boggles me to this very day how they become Tag Team of the Year. I'm not saying they're not a great tag team, but how can you win Tag Team of the Year, the Slammy Award, when you were out for 6 months? You know, and one of the Usos spent the summer basically on SmackDown's commentary position. It makes no sense. It really doesn't. But yeah, I predict the Usos to win the tag team titles because I think it's time for a change. Do I prefer it to be anybody else? Yes, it should have been probably the Lucha Dragons, but Sin Cara's out injured at the moment. So yeah, who do you go to? The seniors of the tag team division, as many people probably agree with that. Becky Lynch and Charlotte for the Divas title. I will probably see this as Charlotte retaining, but I'm predicting Becky to be the champion. Because, yeah, this whole thing with Charlotte, I think Daniel cost her the title, the way he's been opening his mouth lately and the way he accepted this match for her, and I think Daniel cost her the title. So I hope Becky Lynch will win the Divas title, but again, don't be surprised if Charlotte retains. But she needs to break away from Daddy. She seriously needs to do that. I mean, it was a great idea at first for Charlotte to be the Divas champion, but the direction she's gone with Daddy as a manager, it doesn't fit. It really doesn't fit, and it makes her look ridiculous. I mean, we all know she's Ric Flair's, Ric Flair's her dad and this, that, and the other, but she's starting to act like her dad. It's not good. It's just not good. Now for the Royal Rumble match itself, I'm predicting Roman Reigns to win this match and retain the title. However, this could go a few of many ways. There's a lot of rumors about Triple H coming back to screw Roman Reigns, which could lead to a Triple H versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. This talk about Triple H versus The Rock at WrestleMania, because we all know Rock's coming back for Mania. Whether he'll show up at the Rumble or not, I don't know. Who knows? The Rock may save Roman Reigns again like he did last year, and this time may lead to Triple H versus The Rock at WrestleMania. Who knows? A lot of angles that this could come out of. A lot of very dichotic angles that this could come out of as well. If Roman doesn't win the title and it does turn out to be Triple H versus Roman Reigns, then I can see Brock Lesnar becoming champion. I could see Brock Lesnar becoming champion because both of them have been involved these past 2 weeks in the storyline, which led to what happened on Raw. So if Roman doesn't win and Triple H just come back, or Roman gets eliminated and that, but I predict Roman Reigns to win. But if Roman doesn't win and it ends up being Triple H or Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, Brock Lesnar will win the title. So it's out with them two, basically. But as my prediction, Roman Reigns to win, because I think they're trying to build the hell out of him, and push him as far as they can push him. But where they're going to go with this, I do not know. After this, hopefully, will it be Roman Reigns versus Triple H? Will Roman Reigns defend the title at WrestleMania? Will Brock win it? I think Brock's got a better chance of winning it, but like I said, they're pushing Roman to the moon. Roman, I can still see from Survivor Series to where we are right now, they're leaning towards a Roman Reigns versus Triple H match. But Roman to win the Royal Rumble, it is very difficult. Maybe they're trying to push him to win the Royal Rumble from the number one position so they can have a cover, say, oh yeah, Shawn Michaels and Roman Reigns, because let's face it, the other man to win the Royal Rumble from number one position other than Shawn Michaels was Chris Benoit, and they're not mentioning him anymore. So that's probably 2004 was probably a forgotten year in WWE, considering. But yeah, Roman Reigns to win prediction, but I could probably see a a Triple H versus Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar to win the Royal Rumble if that happens. Those are my two predictions. But if I had to pick a main prediction out of it, Roman Reigns to win. But like I said, there's a lot of interesting diconics and interesting angles that can come out of this situation, this Royal Rumble. Should the WWE title be on the line? Probably not. But, you know, it's Roman Reigns versus the McMahons, basically, considering what Roman's did to Triple H after TLC. At TLC, rather. And then considering what Roman did to McMahon after the night after, when he won the title. All in all, ladies and gentlemen, it is going to be a very interesting Royal Rumble and probably the most talked about Royal Rumble match ever this Sunday. Does it have the potential to be the worst Royal Rumble ever? Probably. It definitely has the potential to be the most predictable Royal Rumble ever. But we will see this Sunday night. And ICW as well has the same, is on the same night as well with their Square Go. And I have no idea who's going to win that match. I'd give you a prediction right now, but I have no idea who's going to win the ICW Square Go. A lot of potential winners can be in there. You know, Jack Jester, Drew Galloway, and the list goes on and on and on. I really don't know. Who knows? Chris Renfrew might get back involved again and win the Square Go again, like he tried to do last year until Dickie Davis threw him out. But I will be here next week with a Square Go predictions and not a Square Go review at some point. If not next week, it'll be the week after. Like I say, I might be busy next week, but we'll see. We'll see how things go. But look out for that coming up. Now, there will be a video, a Raw review video this week. A Raw review live stream. Not Raw review, a Royal Rumble live stream next week. There'll be a Raw review live stream next week as well. But there'll be a Raw review video live stream, whatever you want to call it, this week after the Royal Rumble, as normal. But I'm considering doing it a little bit early, guys. This is why I'm warning you, because I'm considering doing a voiceover podcast to the Royal Rumble match itself. I don't want to do like a Royal Rumble, you know, I do a reactions to the Royal Rumble, you know, watching it and giving my, you know, oh my God moments and everything. I might do an audio to the Royal Rumble winner, to the Royal Rumble match itself, and then after that do a Royal Rumble review, which I'm more than likely going to do. So what I'm saying is, guys, is look out for that. I'm telling you this now so I can give you the heads up for what's coming up. Like I said, I don't know if I'm going to do it yet. I'm definitely going to do the Royal Rumble review and highlights and thoughts and whatever. That'll be after the pay-per-view. But as for the review, the Royal Rumble like podcast, just podcasting the whole entire match itself. Just podcasting that, the whole match itself. Will I do the whole pay-per-view? Probably. Probably not. I might just do the whole Royal Rumble match itself, because that's the most talked about thing of the whole Royal Rumble pay-per-view. You know, the Royal Rumble, you know, Roman Reigns defending it. People want to know what's going on. So I might just do like a Royal Rumble podcast, like a live stream, a podcast, kind of in a podcast kind of way, and then break away from that and then do the Royal Rumble review, the Royal Rumble review itself. So look out for that this Sunday. I'm going to work on that during the week, and I will bring it to you this Sunday night. So the only way you could see that, though, or hear that, is if you subscribe to the channel for more information. To keep up to date with everything that goes on in this channel, you have to subscribe to the channel. So, because a lot of good things that come into my head, a lot of things I want to bring to you on this channel. Why? Because wrestling matters on this channel. You know, ICW, Progress Wrestling. I have a lot of ideas floating around my head for this channel. It's just how to execute them. So the only way you can keep up to date with everything that goes on in this channel, guys, is subscribing. That's why you have to subscribe to the channel if you want to be kept up to date. Also, check out the new episode of the Wrestling Matters podcast. Was Chris Jericho the best signing WWE's ever had? Check it out. It's on the channel. It's up there now. Chris Jericho holding the Intercontinental Championship belt. It is episode 94. Be sure to check that out as well. Also, check out Max Wrestling Podcast, which episode 44, which, you know, has me on it. Yeah. Links will be in the description below. And, yeah, guys, enjoy the Royal Rumble. I will be back after the Royal Rumble or during the Royal Rumble to do that podcast. And I will definitely do a Royal Rumble review, right? I keep saying Royal Rumble review after it. And then after that, it will be the Royal Rumble review. And then next week will be the Raw review as well. And like I say, guys, enjoy the Royal Rumble. And I'll see you next week. Strap yourselves on, guys, because we're in WrestleMania season. The most fun time of the WWE year. Wrestling matters on this channel because wrestling matters to me. My name is Anthony Walker. Enjoy the Royal Rumble, and I'll see you Sunday. Peace out. If you like the Wrestling Matters podcast, why not follow the Wrestling Matters podcast now on Twitter at WM Podcast for all professional wrestling news. Wrestling Matters, wrestling fans. Welcome back to part 2, ladies and gentlemen, of the Wrestling Matters podcast. Now, I'm going to go with NXT and Smackdown. We'll start with NXT first. Get that out the way. I won't talk about it too much, but it was mainly headlined by warm-up matches for the triple threat match that's going to take place. Sami Zayn kicked off the show with a win over Adam Rose. Apollo Crews beats Ty Dillinger. Baron Corbin beats Rich Swann. Bayley and the number one contender to a title, Carmella, defeat Alexia Bliss and Emma. And Samoa Joe beats Johnny Gargano. So, all warm-up matches, nothing really interesting or big on the show today. It was just, it was what it was at the end of the day, but they were just all warm-up matches for the triple threat match, which should be very, very interesting. Now, I'm going to go from that now to SmackDown, the SmackDown main talking points, if you will. New Day looked to cast a shadow on Y2J. 3 days after one of the greatest highlight reels in history descended into absolute mayhem on Raw, Chris Jericho journeyed to SmackDown for the first time in 14 months. While Y2J seemed primed to be the savior of WWE and emerged from WWE's Royal Rumble pay-per-view with Roman Reigns as World Heavyweight Championship, the New Day interrupted. Still heartbroken over Jericho's destruction of the beloved trombone, Francesca, the WWE Tag Team Champions attempted to get retribution on the 6-time World Heavyweight Champion, was ultimately detoured by the immediate 6-man showdown against Dolph Ziggler and the Usos. And speaking of that match, the New Day managed to get a loss, and Dolph Ziggler and the Usos get the victory. A little warm-up for the Usos going into the Royal Rumble match. Becky Lynch beats Alicia Fox. Miz TV with special guest Dean Ambrose and Kevin Owens descends into chaos, with Miz sticking his nose in and looked like him getting a beatdown on Dean Ambrose. Why, I do not know. With Miz pouting in the corner, Intercontinental Champion, Dean Ambrose took over Miz TV, or should we call it Dean TV. The Lunatic Fringe proceeded to explain how he would take his number one contender for the Intercontinental Championship, Kevin Owens, on a amusement park of pain in their Intercontinental title match at the Royal Rumble pay-per-view. Moments after Ambrose invited an emerging Kevin Owens to the ring, however, the Miz attacked the title holder from behind, though the A-lister called Owens to join the assault. The Awesome One soon found himself a victim of a surprise pop-up powerbomb by the prize fighter. Owens then directed his attentions back to the Lunatic Fringe, but Ambrose turned the tables on Owens and ultimately hit Miz with Dirty Deeds for good measure. Who will be the last man standing? Well, you already know that. Bray Wyatt beats Ryback. Titus O'Neil, I'm not even going to talk about that. Titus O'Neil beats Stardust. The League of Nations jump Kalisto, and Roman Reigns beats the League of Nations by disqualification in the main event. All leading guys to the Royal Rumble. Be interested to see what happens this week on Raw and SmackDown. With that being said, though, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to end that part there, and I'll be back right after this quick timeout with Ring of Honor and TNA, so stay tuned. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Anthony Walker, the host and creator of the Wrestling Matters podcast and a long-time wrestling fan, encouraging everybody to sign a petition to get this man, this little picture in the corner right here, the British Bulldog, into the Hall of Fame where he belongs. There is a long list of people who are not in the Hall of Fame, the WWE Hall of Fame, and deserve to be in there. This man's one of them. Okay? I have been a fan of wrestling ever since I was a little child, and the fact that this man is not in the Hall of Fame, quite frankly, is a joke. He deserves it, and you can help sign this petition to get him in the Hall of Fame where he belongs. To sign the petition and show your support, go to www.teamdavyboysmith.com to sign the petition and show your support and help get this man in the Hall of Fame where he belongs. Long live the British Bulldog. Let's get him in the Hall of Fame. My name is Anthony Walker. Peace out. Right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get back to this part right now. We'll talk about TNA and we'll talk about Ring of Honor as well. Now, Ring of Honor, holy moly, what a show. Kicked off with Addiction against Alex Shelley and ACH. Two great tag teams going at it. Nothing really big in this match, but at the end of the day, Addiction get a little small revenge against Alex Shelley for what he has done, costing them the tag team titles, playing their gimmick, if you will, KID, you know, the masks and all. And after the match, the Addiction jumped Alex Shelley. But where is this angle going? Is this angle going to the point where Motor City Machine Guns may get back together? Because Chris Sabin looked on and he looked a bit concerned while Addiction hit Celebrity Rehab on Alex Shelley. What's going to go down? Is something going to go down? What? And what? Guess we'll have to wait. And by the way, Nigel McGuinness suspends Christopher Daniels. Next match was Adam Page and Mark Briscoe. Mark got the win, but the story was after the match, because BJ Whitmer called out Mr. Wrestling, who was sat at ringside, Mr. Wrestling 3. Now, anyone who watched Ring of Honor knows, or even watched Final Battle for that matter, knows that Mr. Wrestling mask, and anybody with a bright eye can hear the voice. It sounds like Steve Corino. That's because it is Steve Corino. BJ calls him out, and Mr. Wrestling absolutely punks BJ Whitmer out, basically calls his bluff, if you will. Silas Young comes out and calls out the boys. More on that probably next week, because he's not very happy that he lost the boys even though he won the match. He was very disappointed in them and says he wants them back, so we'll find out that story next week. And not only that, the Kingdom and the Young Bucks and Red Dragon. Now, we've witnessed, this was the first, probably the second Ring of Honor television show of the year, and we witnessed one of the damnedest fights we've ever seen. This Philly street fight is going to go down as match of the year. There were trolleys involved, super kicks. Even Kevin Kelly took a super kick. And then AJ got involved and helped out the Young Bucks the Bullet Club way. This was before he got kicked out of the Bullet Club, I would imagine, because he's on his way now. He's on the way to WWE. More on that next week. But yeah, probably the craziest street fight you will ever see, guys. And if you haven't seen it, go and find it. Go and find Ring of Honor. Go and find the television show itself. It's probably still up there. Or after that, there'll probably be some websites on it, unless you're a member of the Ring of Honor website or whatever. Just go and find it. It is the damnedest street fight you will ever see. Even Ring of Honor founder was at ringside, and after 14 years he never seen anything like it. So go and find it, go and search it, and and sit back and watch what was the damnedest street fight I have ever seen in my life. And no doubt, even though it's early 2016, no doubt probably a candidate for match of the year at least. But that is the end of the Ring of Honor review, and now we're going to get straight into TNA. Now, I talked about briefly with TNA on the Michael Larkin podcast that I did this past week. Jeff Hardy expresses his concerns about Matt Hardy going into this last man standing match. Jeff Hardy beats Tyrus 1-on-1. Knockout's title is the Knockouts Championship. Awesome Kong with the Dollhouse versus Gail Kim, and Gail retains the belt. Beer Money checks to cash. James Storm says it's been 5 years since he and Bobby Roode wrestled together on Impact. They call out Bram and Eric Young, but Eli Drake and Jesse Goodaz answer. Storm finishes a beer and says, "You just rather check your ass can cash, boys." Beer Money dives from the ring, sending Goodaz and Drake into the guardrails. Storm throws Goodaz into the ring, and the bell sounds, which leads to the match, which sees Beer Money get the victory. Will Beer Money be able to get tag team gold this year? Guess we'll have to wait and see on that. Matt and Rebby, his wife, convinced Jeff to seek medical attention. That was probably after the beating he probably got from Tyrus. Kurt Angle calls, still got his farewell match, and then Bobby Lashley comes out and challenges him, which Lashley accepts, and Angle accepts also. The debut of Miracle, Mike Bennett and Maria take on Pepper Parks, and they beat him, and then he leaves a message for TNA, and then the last man standing, which sees a brand new world heavyweight champion in Matt Hardy. Now, and Tyrus turns on EC3. Now, don't get me wrong, this could work either way, I don't know. But at the moment right now, I hope it does work, because this makes no sense. It seems now there's a switch. Matt's the heel, EC3's the babyface. Will being a babyface work for EC3? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But it's interesting to see what happens this coming week on Impact. But in my opinion, EC3 babyface, Matt Hardy the heel. Heel Matt Hardy works, because he's been heel before. But EC3 babyface, I don't think that's going to work. I hope I'm proved wrong. And that is the end of that part, ladies and gentlemen. I will be back after this with ICW's Friday Night Fight Club review. So stay tuned.
Be sure to listen to the Sunday Segway Wrestling Podcast.
What?
Every Sunday with Kenny Killer and the Galdem Sugar Shoes.
Yes! Yes!
With all the news, views, and laughter that you want.
They like jet airplanes. Woo! They like long limousines.
Every Sunday, the Sunday Segway Wrestling Podcast on Podomatic, iTunes, and YouTube.
So why don't you choke on that, slap nut?
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to part 5 of the Wrestling Matters podcast. And now it is time for the ICW review. Kicked off with NAK, Stevie Boy and Wolfgang against Polo Promotions. Two great teams. A very unique team in Stevie Boy and Wolfgang, representing the NAK, but Polo Promotions have the experience. The 55 jump mark till DCT saves Mark and hits Wolfgang with a polo stick. Polo Promotions get the victory. Two great teams. Polo Promotions still have beef with 55. That's why 55 attacked them. And yeah, it was just a good way to start off. And Jackie Polo's still on one leg, and NAK used that to their advantage in the match as well, working on the leg. I wouldn't mind seeing more of Wolfgang and Stevie Boy, because they were actually great as a tag team, but the experience definitely went to Polo Promotions. If it had been Stevie Boy and Chris Renfrew, not Stevie Boy and Chris Renfrew, BT Gunn and Chris Renfrew, it might have been a different matter though, but it wasn't. And like I say, a great way to start the match, or start the show rather. Where are we? Polo Promotions get the win. Damo gets ready for Jimmy Havoc. Red Lightning comes out and throws his weight around, as he always does. Nothing new there. Carmel Jacob calls out Sami Zayn for a title match, and Nikki Storm wasn't taking too kindly to it, but Red Lightning put her in a place. Now, the next match after that was the Zero G Championship, involving Lionheart and Davey Boy. Lionheart super kicks Wee Man after Wee Man starts talking trash. Davey Boy attacks, and it was just a great match from that point on. Great wrestling, hold for hold. It was really, really, really good stuff. It ended with Lionheart getting the belt, looking to take the title, and hits Davey Boy with it. Wee Man grabs it off him, and then Lionheart turns around, gets speared, and Davey Boy gets the victory. A great match, to be honest. It's a shame they didn't have that much time. I think they only had about 15 minutes. The main event was about 20 odd minutes in its own right, but it had only about 15 minutes. It was like 15 minutes apiece for the matches in this, and it was. I mean, if they had a bit more matches, maybe like a 30-minute kind of match, I would have probably thought that would have been an epic match. But 15 minutes and Davey Boy gets the win to retain. Now, there's a clip of this next bit on YouTube. Carmel contract signing with Liam Thompson. Carmel gets put through a table. I'll leave that in the description below, along with the other 2 main points from this as well. I'll leave that in the description below. There'll be 3 videos, ICW videos from this episode that are actually on the ICW Online network, the ICW Online YouTube page, so go and check it out. Now, Joe Henry with another entrance, which takes the piss out of Tim Wiley and James R. Kennedy, which revolves James R. Kennedy to George Michael's son. But Joe Henry manages to get his hands on Tim Wiley, and after the teenage dirtbag-like entrance, 55 attacked Joe before the match, giving the advantage to Tim Wiley. And Tim using his power. It was a really good match, to be honest with you, and it ended with Joe getting his revenge on Tim Wiley somewhat, but after the match, Tim attacked Joe and got a little bit small revenge of his own. But it was a really, really, really good match. And I'll tell you this right now, guys. These entrances that that Joe Henry's doing, man, they are very, very entertaining. There was a teenage dirtbag here with Tim and Kennedy. There was the Boom Boom Jack Jester in my room from, I believe it was last week. Just great stuff, it really was. Damo went one-on-one with Jimmy Havoc, and Jimmy did not want to wrestle Damo. He wanted to fight him, but it didn't matter either way. It was a somewhat even match, but Damo manages to get the victory by doing his finishing move on Havoc, driving Havoc on the chair. I mean, Havoc wanted to bring chairs into the match, kind of like even the odds. Both men show respect at the end, and Damo calls Jimmy Havoc what we all know, that is, he is one crazy bastard. But it was a good match nonetheless. Very good match between the two, size and quickness with Damo and Jimmy respectively, and it was just a dominated match somewhat by Damo, although Jimmy did fight back. It was evenly matched, but to be honest, on paper, there was no match. Big fucking Irish motherfucker, big beast, Damo, and Jimmy Havoc, the smart wrestler, don't get me wrong, but he was outmatched. Now, Noam Dar and Chris Renfrew. Very good match between these two. Chris Renfrew even at the end trying to show respect, but Noam Dar showed it in a way. Yeah, Dar working on the leg of Chris Renfrew during the match. That was the story of the match. It was a really, really good wrestling match between the two. And at one point, the highlight of the match was Dar got out of the briefcase, tried to look around and see what happened and everything. And Renfrew ran all the way around. And I stunned him rather, and but he didn't get the victory, but manages to hit the stunner to get the victory. A very close, even, great match, to be honest with you. And after the match, Chris Renfrew then shoots on Grado. That video is on YouTube. Like I say, it'll be in the description below. Whether you're on SoundCloud, YouTube, whatever, it'll be in the description below. Check it out, guys. It's worth watching. And Grado does do a response as well, which is even greater. But Renfrew shoots on Grado, and not only on Grado, Fighting Spirit magazine as well. It's worth watching, guys. Trust me. ICW tag titles saw Legion and the 55, Legion being Mikey Whiplash and Tommy End. The numbers game was in the full effect with the 55 Legion, although Legion did manage to fight back and stand tall. Kennedy does cost Legion the tag team titles because Legion had them beat, had the 55 beat, but Kennedy pulls the referee out the ring, and it ends with a kick to the belt back in Shah's face by Tommy End, and then out of nowhere, Kid Fight comes in, rolls up, and gets the victory. Hey, like the tactics or not, 55 got the job done. You know, you gotta admire that. Like I say, by any means necessary, although they were very close to losing them if it hadn't been for James R. Kennedy. But they got the job done. A very shocking moment of the night, to be honest with you. A great match between BT Gunn and Kenny Williams. BT chops the post. He goes to chop Kenny on the outside, but ends up chopping the post, which hurts like hell, trust me. And if you think chops hurt, Jesus Christ, chop a post. Yeah, a ring post. Not fun. Fight was on the outside. Even Stevie Boy tried to get involved and pays for it. BT at times proving that he was one step ahead. Even though it was an evenly matched contest, I thought. BT proving that he was actually one step ahead at times. And Kenny manages to win with the springboard codebreaker on BT Gunn, which shocked me, to be honest with you, because I actually wasn't expecting that. I really wasn't expecting Kenny to win, but Kenny, you know, he did his thing, man. And then after the match, the 55 mugged Joe Henry in the back. Obviously, they're not done, and obviously they didn't take too kindly to Joe Henry's teenage dirtbag entrance, especially Tim Wiley. But anyway, Red abuses his power, yada, yada, yada. A great main event between Jack Jester and Joe Coffey. These two went out, so Red get involved, and Jack gets the tombstone. But that wasn't the story. The story was after the match, because the 55, Liam Thompson and Lionheart came out to put a beating on Coffey, and then Mark Dallas hits his music. Hits, comes out, looks to get a piece of Red Lightning, gets attacked by Red's crew, I guess you could say, and then Sweeney returns, comes out, looks to get involved to save Mark Dallas, obviously Mark Dallas's bodyguard. Then Chris Toll comes out and sends out the Polo promotion, and all hell breaks loose. That's on YouTube as well. I think I saw that on the Facebook Live thing as well. It was on the Facebook Live on Mark Dallas's Facebook page, and I believe it was ICW's Facebook page. I believe it was Mark Dallas's though, and he said, "Surprise, motherfucker." So at the end, I will put all three. I'll put the Renfrew shoot, the other bit as well about it, the Renfrew shoot, the brawl that ended the show, and who else was there? Tim Wiley. There's another bit as well that was on. I can't remember what it was. Oh yeah, the contract signing was there. Liam Thompson and Carmel. I'll put them three on YouTube's description and and SoundCloud's description as well if you're checking it out on SoundCloud. So be sure to check them out as well because they are worth watching. Especially the brawl at the end. It was actually great. And yeah, ICW reigns supreme once again. To give you a quick spoiler, guys, if you haven't watched the Square Go, I suggest you turn this bit off right now, but I'm going to give you a quick spoiler. We have a brand new ICW World Heavyweight Champion in Chris Renfrew. You heard me correct, ladies and gentlemen. I'll be watching the Square Go and reviewing that at some point during the week, maybe next week, I don't know, depending on what I'm doing, because I'm being very busy as of late. But also, guys, check it out. You've got to check out the Square Go, because let's just say it was an NAK night. That's all I'm saying on that. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, hope you enjoyed that, and I'll be back in a bit for the final part, the outro, a few promotions, and what's to come. So see you in a bit.
Be sure to listen to the Sunday Segway Wrestling Podcast.
What?
Every Sunday with Kenny Killer and the Galdem Sugar Shubs.
Yes! Yes!
With all the news, views, and laughter that you want.
They like jet airplanes. Woo! They like long limousines.
Every Sunday, the Sunday Segway Wrestling Podcast on Podomatic, iTunes, and YouTube.
So why don't you choke on that, slap nut?
Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the final part of the Wrestling Matters podcast. Now, I've got a few promotions to do, and then I'll wrap it up. But before I get to them promotions, it seems from a reliable source, ladies and gentlemen, that reliable source being one Tim Vicious, Vicious Rants, check that out on YouTube, hashtag Vicious Rants. It seems that he put up something that's on the internet, Twitter, Facebook, whatever, saying that TNA have been claiming that they tried to sign AJ Styles, Gallows, and Anderson, and I believe Nakamura was in there as well, but them three came up. And if that's the case, like I said, I don't know the full details of that. I don't know the full article of that, okay, but if that's, it seems that TNA may very well be going back to their old ways. I mean, the last time they tried to lie goes back to the time when they turned Fortune babyface. Now, what do I mean by that is, Immortal was running roughshod, they were running up and down, they were running riot, as we all knew, and then this they came out of nowhere. You had Crimson coming out every week, saying, Immortal, so-and-so, they're coming. Now, everybody assumed that they were the Main Event Mafia, because Crimson had the Main Event Mafia outfit, he had the suit on, and turns out it was. But TNA couldn't strike a deal with them, and I say them, I'm talking about two members of the Mafia, and I'm talking about Booker T and Kevin Nash, because Booker T and Kevin Nash ended up in the Royal Rumble match of that same year. So the Main Event Mafia plan, out the window. That's why they ended up turning Fortune. And everybody tried to deny it. Were you expecting somebody else? I mean, AJ Styles even mentioned it as well. Were you expecting some other guys? Yes, we were, AJ. It was all going back, because it was supposed to be the Main Event Mafia, and they used Fortune as a last resort, if you will, as a last resort to get out of that sticky situation they were in. But it seems that TNA were lying again, because according to Tim Vicious of what I saw, it seems that TNA claimed that they tried to sign Anderson, Gallows, and AJ Styles. Yeah, well, until I see proof, I'm not buying that. Right, ladies and gents, just a couple of things I want to check on you. If you check me out on my Games Matter channel, or you check me out on the podcast as well, get yourself over to the Wrestling Matters Podcast Twitter page, or my @Tony_Walker Twitter page, because I've started to use Twitter polls on there, the Twitter polls that you can do on there. So if you want to voice your opinions on what I can do to improve this podcast, where I should go, what I can do to improve my Games Matter channel, or even the Wrestling Matters podcast channel itself, the Wrestling Matters channel that I do have on YouTube, anything like that, the only way you can do it is get yourself over to Twitter at WM Podcast or at Tony_Walker and voice your opinions. What can I do to improve? I've done it a few times, maybe more. Seems to be working, so if you want to voice your opinions, come on over and do it. Now, also check out the partners, the affiliates, OSW TV, RFPW, and the Mystery Island as well. Links to them will be on my website at www.theheyanthonywalker.net. Yes, I'm doing a Wix website as well. I'm creating that at the moment. The aim is to get that out by the end of February. That's my aim. I don't think I'll be able to get it out at the beginning of February, but hey, or mid-February, but hey, if I do, that'll be a miracle. I've got a few things I need to do first, which I'll get to this week. And all in all, it's coming on very well, if I do say so myself, okay? I've done all the writing parts and everything. I might need to check it over with a few people, i.e. Daz and the Max Wrestling team, and hopefully everything will be cushy. And hopefully Daz can help me with it as well. Like, help me add a few other touches to it as well, and then I'll do the rest. Also, ladies and gentlemen, February 7th, if you're in the Middlesbrough area at the Sports Village, there's an EPW show. That's right, EPW show featuring Bram. It kicks off at 2:30, doors open at 2:30 Sunday afternoon. I may very well be there, from what I'm hearing. I'm not going to tell you how, I'm not going to tell you why. There's a possible chance I might be there. If I'm not, I'm not. But there's a possible chance. It's not 100%. I may very well show up for that show. And if you're there, come say hello. But one place I can guarantee you I will be, and that's February 19th. February 19th at the Town Hall in Middlesbrough, my hometown. There was a wrestling show on there. I have my ticket. Cost me £8, whatever that is in US dollars, and I will be there as well. So I don't know who's on the show. I will review that show, maybe on the podcast, maybe on the channel. I don't know. I might do a podcast on the channel, but I will review that show at some point on the channel. Probably that same night. So, you know, if you're there that night, it's in the Middlesbrough Town Hall, February 19th. Get yourself over there. If you see me, come say hi. Don't be afraid, guys. I don't bite. If you want to talk wrestling, come on over. I'll talk wrestling with you all night. That's what I do. And check out everybody else as well, including the Max Wrestling Podcast, Offshoot Radio, Michael Larkin, Wrestling Unleashed, episode 4, which is up on SoundCloud, soundcloud.com/WM podcast. /wrestling_matters_podcast, I should say. So I've got Twitter on my mind at the moment. Go and check that episode out. It is there. It is in there. I've reposted it and liked it and whatever, so you'll be able to find it on my page. Check that out. Also, I'm going on Podbean. I don't know how yet. I'm working on that. That'll be all. I'll give you more on that next week. And until next time, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Anthony Walker, bidding you a fond farewell from the 95th episode, and I'll see you next week for the 96th episode. Hopefully, as well, for the 97th episode, I'll have some guests. Hopefully, I'm doing my best to get guests. It's not easy at the moment. It's just finding the time and all that to fit them in, because I'm a busy man at the moment. But all in all, I will be getting guests, and hopefully something big will be going down for the 100th show. So more on that next week. Until next time, guys, I am Anthony Walker. Hope you've enjoyed this podcast, and until next time, I'll see you soon. Peace out.
Well, enough is enough, and it's time for a change.
Professional wrestling, this is it. This is us standing up.
Yes, 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 yes!
That's 13-14.
Cena, I am the best in the world.
Cause that's the bottom line. Cause Stone Cold Simpson.